Alright guys, did a bunch of development work on the AFR Enforcer, copy whether you want to say it or not. Wanted to give you a quick view of what the chamber looks like with the valves installed. I did do some chamber reshaping. I did some deshrouding. I actually, you know what? Since I'm here, and I know the man I'm doing these for is watching. If he gives me he already gave me the right plug number for these. What I'd like to do is go in there and find out exactly how many threads he uses, and then scallop out those threads we're not using, and get rid of all of that potential hot spots. Something I'm thinking about. Okay, throat hasn't been changed since last time we spoke. I definitely did take out a lot more metal out of the cylinder wall side. As I kept taking metal out, it kept improving. Now, I still have more metal there, but I've got a nice balance on my air speeds, and I'm pretty happy with that the way it is. The valve job is right to the edge of the insert, and it's just a hair small on the valve, but it'll be fine. I did notice that the exhaust valve, check this out. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that or not. Do you know what those little dots are? I'm going to say it's these little chunks of aluminum that were burning off during detonation, and were hot enough that they actually welded themselves to the face of the valve. Let me know if I'm off base with that, guys. Okay, as far as the exhaust, same idea with the small block Ford. You can take the outside wall out, but this port had noisy interference at 0.15 inch. And guess what? It still has a little bit at 0.15 inch. And the way I designed it is because he's running decent amount of cubes, 393 cubes, and a big cam, and he is hitting it in nitrous once in a while. I sacrificed some low lift flow numbers for some higher lift flow numbers. Alright guys, get a quick look on the inside of the bowl. It's had quite a bit of work done to it. And the air speeds right now are really nice. I'm really happy the way the air speeds turned out. Now, I did calculate my pinch. You know what? We'll get into that when I go over the flow numbers. Okay, you can see I still kept my outside size, almost exactly it was when I started. But it has been reshaped quite a bit on the inside. Okay, short side radius on the exhaust took quite a bit of work. But I've got the speeds really nice right now, and I still have that tight 85.9% throat, which is right about where I like them. If it was up to me, I'd run an 88 throat on the intake and an 86 on the exhaust in almost all applications. But then again, I'm not normal either. Does that mean I'm losing some? Maybe compared to some other guys. I actually had to change the apex of that short side radius quite a bit to get a little more line of sight out of it and get the higher flow numbers I was looking for. Okay, short side radius on the intake had quite a bit of work done to it. Okay, you can see we've got a decent amount of bowl work done on this. And you can only really do it on one side. got nothing. You can't do nothing on the other side. You're stuck. Kind of like an LS. Oh, that's right. LS is a Ford design. But if you do it right, these the short side airspeeds turned out pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. And it's nice and stable within our lift range that we're doing it at. It just starts to get into a little bit trouble above that. We're not going there, so is it that big a deal? I could have knocked the short side radius down a little bit more, but then I lose some meat in the middle of the flow curve. And although it's not perfect in the middle of the flow curve, it's relatively strong. So I'm kind of happy with the way it turned out. Okay, the scribble is where my 1204 and clay radius was slipped during the test, so that test got thrown out. This is the last test that you guys saw. There's been at least 6 cuts since then, a bunch of other flows, but who cares, right? That's development stuff. You know, they're hit or miss. You gain a little, you lose a little. But this is where we're at now. This is our latest 208, no back cut. Some of the stuff that I did was made the bowl wider, changed the short side radius, raised the roof. The pinch stayed basically the same. I'm not going to touch the pinch until I get the intake manifold and the gaskets and know where I am. But take a look. 0.15 went from 101.4 to 107.7. Not bad. We went from 190.7 to 194. I would have liked to got that over 200, but I'm not 100% sure why that's being held up. My throat is still tight, but let's take a look at the rest of the curve. 400, we got 240.3, 243.7, 500, 276, 280.3, 281.1 at 6, 298.7, 286.8, 304. Notice how the higher lifts right here got a nice boost, right? These got a small boost. These got a big boost. That was what I figured would work out really well with the size 60. Well, the cam he's using now, he may get a different cam, but the cam he's using right now is 608 lift. Okay? So let's take a look at the exhausts. Now these were already ported. These had some more work since then. Okay? Take a look at 0.15. 92.7 went down. 300, 158.4, 159. It just starts to making. Notice I got negatives all in here. I lost some low lift flow. Let's keep going. At 400, 185, 190. 500, 194, 213.2 with a big pipe. 207, 223.8. Big jump, even with the pipe, right? 600, 191.2 and 214.7 with a pipe. 215.3, 235.6. You put the pipe on, it really starts moving. And for some reason I didn't do this, probably the way I had the opener set, I couldn't get that lift. But it lost a little bit here, right? From 215.3 to 215.2. I'd like to see it continually go up. But when I put the pipe on it, it went up. And I don't want to take any more apex out of my short side radius because I'll lose even more in here. So I'm going to say that's the way it's going to be at that point. Take a look at some air speeds. Fast. Why? The pinch calculated up to only being able to flow 298 CFM. But Charlie, you got that beat. That's impossible. Well, actually, it's not impossible. Charlie, you can only get 146 CFM per square inch through. Unless it's shaped like a Venturi and the high-speed air starts to drop the pressure according to Bernoulli's equation. Then your restriction, which would be your pinch, sees more than 28 inches of depression. Now, when I get the intake manifold and the gaskets and I can change the pinch the way I need to, do you think this may change without any more development if I'm already maxed out? Not worth me doing any work until I can get the stuff here. It's in shipping, so it's coming. Okay, as far as roof speeds, relatively even. I'm pretty happy with that. As far as my short side radius, this is all at 500 lift. Not bad at all. Relatively decent speeds. Not crazy like you get on the iron heads. And take a look at the exhaust. This is at 500 lift as well. 300, 300, 204, 300, 300, nothing. Middle of that port is dead right there. But if I put even a tiny flow ball there, it goes down in CFM. And I mean the tiniest flow ball I have, which is an eighth, I think, or maybe even smaller. So you are getting air through there. Okay? But not much. Everything is on the outside edge of the port. Okay, center of cylinder, 329, 316, 241. That little exhaust port, and it is little. I did not hog it out. Remember, the exit is the exact same size as when I got it. So, the only thing we did is we changed. The valve job obviously needed to get redone because it had some pitting. See if you guys can get a close-up on that. Now, what is the pitting from? Probably metal transfer from detonation. Okay? So, the man that's getting these heads needs to work on his tune, I think. Because these really weren't too far from self-destruction. So, redid the valve job, put my carbide radius in. Notice I didn't hog the bowl out. Right? I still got that ugly cut in there because it'll work better with that ugly cut than if I take it out. I was able to get rid of it on the intake bowl, and it worked out nice. I'm happy with that. Okay, and this is where this bowl is really a big difference here. This area right here. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day.